There isn't going to be a day when that track doesn't make it hard to be at that high school.
Right now at 6, a recent tragedy renewing efforts to overhaul railroad safety in Palo Alto. The big changes the city council is considering.
I think it's a worthwhile experiment to see what the impacts are.
Plus, inside the new makeover of San Quentin State Prison.
I'm Eric Allen reporting for Criminal Justice News.
The changes state leaders hope will make it a national model for rehabilitation. And it's not a lot of land compared to the entire park, but rangers at Big Basin say a new property purchase could make a huge difference when it comes to wildfire protection. And later, San Mateo County rips down the controversial fence that had been driving hikers crazy in Daly City.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. A series of tragic deaths in Palo Alto has city leaders considering a drastic overhaul of its safety policies along the train tracks. Next week, the city council will consider paying for 24-hour human security at all 4 Palo Alto's Caltrain crossings. Another item on the table, eliminating the use of train horns next month. The council is also considering a temporary closure of the Churchill Avenue crossing right by Palo Alto High School. It was about 2 weeks ago, a student there died by suicide. That's the 4th high schooler to die on Palo Alto train tracks in the past 2 years. Our Suji Nam spoke with a Palo Alto parent who lost her own son to suicide about why she believes these changes are necessary.
Lost him 8 years ago to suicide, which for me is like 8 seconds. I do have my kids on here, and this is actually his thumbprint, which I think looks like the mountains or the oceans, 2 of his favorite places.
Mayor Lucas remembers her son Zane as the life of the room, who had a passion for wrestling.
Sometimes people who see somebody being so outwardly happy and positive also don't realize that maybe that's not all the story either.
Lucas has turned the pain of her son's suicide into advocacy for mental health. She is one of the community members pushing for the closure of the intersection on Churchill Avenue, where the road crosses the Caltrain tracks. That crossing is adjacent to Palo Alto High School, but it is also a key route for drivers, bicyclists, and pedestrians. Palo Alto city leaders will vote on a plan that temporarily closes this crossing so they can assess emergency response time and impact to foot and car traffic.
I think it's a worthwhile experiment to see what the impacts are.
Raminder Bajwa has been living in Palo Alto for more than 20 years. His kids also went to Palo Alto schools.
If the intersection is shut down, then it will divert some traffic onto El Camino towards Embarcadero and Oregon Page Mill. I'll just have to account for a little bit more time especially if I have to cross to the other side of the tracks.
The city is also working to hire 24-hour track safety monitors at all 4 crossings. Shaunak Darab, the president of the Palo Alto Board of Education, says the track's proximity to Palo Alto High School adds onto student pressure.
We are in the heart of Silicon Valley. There is a huge amount of intangible pressure from being in the center of this, disruptive exceptionalism that students over and over talk to me about.
The city had already installed high visibility markers and camera systems using AI to detect irregular motion.
There isn't going to be a day when that track doesn't make it hard to be at that high school.
Lucas says this is one step forward to save one more life.
The city has made resources available online for anyone who has been impacted by the recent student deaths. The information is on the city's website, paloalto.gov. And if you or anyone else you know is struggling and needs someone to talk to, the National Crisis Line is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call or text 988. The sliding glass doors of the Food Max in Antioch are smashed after a reported armed robbery ended with a police shooting. The police say an officer opened fire on a robbery suspect after being pulled into the suspect's car. It happened in the Food Max parking lot on Lone Tree Way. When police confronted the suspect, he repeatedly rammed their car into an occupied patrol car and hit the nearby store. An officer was pulled into the car and trapped inside, then shot the suspect, who tried to run away but was eventually apprehended. Now at least 2 Antioch police officers are on administrative leave. Also in Antioch, police are trying to figure out what led to the deadly shooting of a woman yesterday. Officers say they found a 20-year-old woman suffering from a gunshot wound on Sycamore Drive near Spanos Street around 7:20 last night. Officers are aware of a suspect, but ask that anyone with information on this shooting reach out to detectives. Police have arrested the man that they believe shot and killed a 67-year-old woman and her 28-year-old son on Wednesday in Pleasanton. Yesterday, officers arrested 31-year-old Alan Swadley after a notification from an automatic license plate reader. Officers made that arrest in San Jose and found multiple guns in his car and his home. Police say Swadley, who had no prior criminal history, had been in a recent dating relationship with a member of the victim's family. He is now booked at Santa Rita Jail on 2 counts of murder and is expected in court on Tuesday. A transformation at the San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, a 3-building campus meant to educate and rehabilitate inmates, has partially opened up. Our Kelsey Thord spoke to one inmate who's ready to take on the center's new media setup.
Eric Allen is a bit of a big deal at San Quentin.
I'm Eric Allen, reporting for Criminal Justice News.
He's the prison's one and only news anchor. He's been doing it for about a year now and already has a following.
I even had a guy come from another prison recently and was just like, "Hey, Eric Allen, I know you." And I'm like, I see your broadcast. Keep doing your thing.
For the entire time Eric's been reporting, he's done it out of a small newsroom in the prison, the same space the facility's internal newspaper is produced. But that all changes in March.
I'm very proud of this. I live down the road, so I've been driving by this and seeing the hard hats as they're coming in every day, and it's really wonderful.
Governor Gavin Newsom was on hand as the prison celebrated the opening of its new Learning Center, a $239 million, 3-building, 80-plus thousand square foot campus that will offer inmates a variety of learning opportunities, from media to tech to education. This Learning Center is the first in a series of updates that's part of a larger shift for San Quentin to a new prison model emphasizing rehabilitation. It's a concept borrowed from prison reforms in Norway. The goal, to help better prepare inmates for when they're released back into society.
It was always about public safety. It was always about community safety. It was about, yes, being smart on crime. You can say smart as well as tough on crime. It was not about the old binaries. It was just about pragmatism. It was about dealing with the fundamental fact that 95% of people in this system are going to go back into your neighborhood. And what kind of neighbors do you want them to be?
But we also heard from Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley, who says real rehabilitation reform needs to go beyond just one prison project.
As part of our corrections system, we do invest in things like job training, like continuing education, like preparing individuals with skills that will allow them to become productive members of society when they re-enter. And so to the extent that this is, a step towards those sort of goals, then perhaps it can be helpful. But just having one center, and he's seems to be doing it at San Quentin for mostly symbolic reasons, doesn't really go that far. It needs to be deeply embedded in our entire system of criminal justice.
The new complex will officially open to inmates at the end of March. For those like Eric, they are counting down the days to get in and get to work. For now, he's going to have to continue to put together his newscast in the old facility, but this announcement will definitely be the lead story.
It's definitely going to make my news broadcast, because the people need to hear that. This is for them. The incarcerated people need to know that this learning center right here is for them, for them to participate, rehabilitate, and get back out there in the communities.
Another opportunity inmates are looking forward to: outdoor classes on an upper level that'll give them a chance to see the Bay for the first time since their incarceration. All right, a San Francisco towing business owner who pleaded guilty to setting fire to tow trucks across the Bay Area has been sentenced to 5 years in prison. Prosecutors say Jose Vicente Bajillo orchestrated a scheme to torch his competitors' trucks with the goal of steering business to his companies instead. 6 tow trucks belonging to 4 competing companies were torched in 2023. Our cameras were rolling when FBI raided one of his companies in 2024 in a completely separate case related to insurance fraud. Last week, he was also sentenced to 27 months in that case. Onto a developing story in the Sierra. We're learning 2 more skiers were killed today in separate incidents at Heavenly Mountain Resort on the south side of Lake Tahoe. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says both skiers were transported to the base area by the resort's ski patrol. Both died at the scene. This week alone, 2 people from the Bay Area were killed at North Star Resort in Truckee. This also comes after the deadly avalanche that killed 9 people. The weather is starting to clear now, allowing a helicopter to fly over the avalanche site at Castle Peak. You can see snow-covered huts where 15 skiers had been staying on a 3-day trip to Frog Lake. And then here's a better look at the avalanche site. So north of Interstate 80, it's an area the group of friends visited oftentimes, and they knew well. The avalanche happened on their way back to the trailhead from the Frog Lake huts. We're also learning more about the lives lost in this tragedy and their final moments as the survivors tried to save their own friends. The Nevada County Sheriff's Department and Cal OSHA announcing they are now investigating whether criminal negligence played a role in the deadly avalanche, including why a tour company did not cancel the trip in the face of a powerful storm. Officials described the conditions with 8 feet of snow and 90-mile-per-hour winds.
They went into, I think, frantic mode of trying to find their friends and partners, and they were ultimately able to unbury 3 individuals who did not survive.
The Nevada County Sheriff's Department confirmed that avalanche mitigation has started, the first step toward allowing crews to safely access the bodies still in the mountain this weekend. Still ahead, here at 6, San Mateo County brings out the cavalry to tear down a chain-link fence someone had put up to block the trails to this popular beach. Plus, Big Basin State Park, it makes a major purchase in the Santa Cruz Mountains. How park officials hope the extra property can help them protect the land more efficiently from fire danger. After weeks of back and forth and even the threat of violence, Daly City started taking down an illegal fence cutting off public access to Thornton Beach today. The fence went up last month and traces back to Luke Brugnera, known as Lucky Luke. He is a convicted felon facing federal charges in a pandemic relief-related fraud scheme. So it's not clear his claim to the land. A judge ordered him to take the fence down last month, but the case is still going through the appeal process. The San Mateo County Supervisor and Daly City Mayor were both on scene today as crews officially started to take the chain link fence down, describing it as a win for the public, but also acknowledging that the issue might still not be over.
This will send a clear message. You just cannot erect a barrier of any sort to prevent the public from access to a beautiful public area.
County officials say there is an arrest warrant out for Brugnera for a previous incident in Daly City. So big change is coming for California's oldest state park. Big Basin Redwoods State Park in the Santa Cruz Mountains will soon be about 150 acres larger. The park says its goal with the purchase is to conserve more of the state's pristine forests for future generations. Our Scott Rates has a closer look at this expansion.
With trees topping nearly 200 feet, Big Basin State Park is quite an experience.
It's majestic.
The park has been here since 1902, and now it's getting bigger.
Norfolk to Eagle.
Jordy Malmberg is a ranger here. We took a short drive to check out the new property.
Right now we're heading to the Norabella property that State Parks just recently acquired from Semper Virens Fund. It's very exciting. Big Basin's our oldest state park, and it's also a very neat and very large state park that a lot of people cherish and love. This is the entrance to the new Norabella property.
And this is the property that's being turned over to State Parks. It's about 153 acres. And State Parks telling me that the goal is to put the visitors center here to preserve the old growth redwoods that are just down the street here from me.
And we'll have shuttles that lead down towards that old growth redwood loop so people can still go down, hike, visit all those trails. And we can also conserve a large chunk of forest up here on the Norabella property.
tourists here are telling me that they're excited about the new land that costs about $2.4 million.
I think that's a great idea. I think it's protecting nature as much as possible and letting people enjoy it. Yeah. It'd be great.
Big Basin taking a hit from the 2020 CZU Lightning Complex fire.
Most of the greenery that you're seeing right now is all regrowth since the fire, which I think is a pretty amazing testament to the resiliency of the forest.
Many of the trails were closed, but now they're making a comeback.
We already have 20 miles of trails open down in Big Basin, and we have a bunch of trail crews who are constantly hard at work trying to expand that.
Jordy telling me that with the new expansion comes many new opportunities.
With large areas of undeveloped land like this allows us to kind of protect areas and also create new access for people to come out and enjoy these areas. And it's also a very important habitat for a lot of our local species.
The goal here to preserve as much of this forest as possible so that people can enjoy these rare redwoods for the next 123 years.
Now, we are told the work to move the visitor center could take some time. As of now, there is no ETA on when it will be completed. A years-long restoration project in the South Bay that aims to restore the receding marshland is finally complete, and now it's open to the public. So this happens to be at Shoreline Park in Mountain View, where crews transformed the more than 400-acre pond into a tidal marsh habitat. The project also connects Marshland to the San Francisco Bay for the first time in 100 years. Officials say the results of the $20 million investment will include stronger resilience toward flooding and sea level rise, as well as a welcome comeback for the native wildlife that had been forced out. The project comes, as officials say, about 85% of the tidal marsh habitat along the San Francisco estuary has been lost.
Over time, in less than 10 years, this will be a full functioning marsh and helping to recover the endangered ridge-raised rail and the salt marsh harvest mice.
The project is part of a much larger effort to restore about 15,000 acres of the Bay Area coastline to its natural state.
Sun went down about 20 minutes ago, but nice to still see some light on the horizon even after 6 p.m. Daylight hours getting longer and longer, but we didn't warm up a whole lot during those daylight hours today. Temperatures only made it up into the low to mid 50s. These are the chilliest numbers that we're going to see for a while. A warm up kicks in this weekend, tracking that and the next chance of rain in the first alert forecast.
And this Black History Month, celebrate excellence with the NAACP Image Awards. From film and television to local musicians, see the stars and stories shaping our culture. Watch live Saturday, February 28th at 8 p.m. right here on KPIX. All right, take a look at this. Our chopper got what's left of the snow on Mount Diablo. You can see the dusting all the way up to the beacon. Park officials are warning visitors the weather has made the road slick and dangerous. So, Paul, that's probably the last snow Diablo will get for a little while.
Yeah, we've got another storm headed our way next week, but that one's going to be significantly warmer. The snow levels are going to go all the way up to between 8,000 and 9,000 feet in the Sierra, and that's way too high for any kind of snow in the peaks around the Bay Area. In the short term, we did have some clouds streaming through the skies overhead today, kind of high and mid-level clouds, which filtered the sunshine but didn't entirely block it. That limited amount of sunshine, though, didn't warm us up a whole lot. As we said before the break, temperatures ended up about 5 to 10 degrees below average. The real substantial cloud cover, though, is going to be directing the next plume of moisture to our north, towards the Pacific Northwest as we head through the upcoming weekend. So what we're going to see as we head through the rest of tonight is another round of chilly temperatures, but not as cold as last night. We still have these cold weather advisories in effect for most inland parts of the Bay Area, which they don't really mean a whole lot. It means it's going to be slightly below average for our temperatures, but nothing that is going to be actionable. Even the coldest spots are going to stay a little bit above freezing, and even the coldest spots are going to be safely above record territory. The chilliest spot, or one of them on the map tomorrow morning, will be Livermore, 33 degrees. That's a half dozen degrees above the record. Otherwise, we're going to be a full 7 to 14 degrees above record territory to start the day tomorrow, and temperatures will bounce back to a greater extent than they did today. Even in the North Bay, where the clouds are going to be a little bit thicker, you should climb up into the upper 50s, which is good news for our adoptable dog, Otis, who doesn't look like he's going to be unhappy with any kind of weather. He's adoptable from Roxy's Ranch Haven. I'll put up a link on social media right after this weathercast if you are interested in adopting this happy boy. He might get a couple sprinkles in his fur as we head through the weekend, though, because the one chance of showers is going to be over the North Bay. And again, that cloud cover over the North Bay is going to keep your temperatures just a little bit cooler than the rest of the Bay Area. Well, most of us are going to climb to around 60 degrees tomorrow, 60 exactly in San Jose and Fremont, also 60 in Livermore after that chilly start near freezing, around 60 around the Bay, upper 50s at the coast. Mostly mid to upper 50s for the North Bay, though. That's the influence of that cloud cover overhead as we head through the day tomorrow. But the bulk of the moisture, as I mentioned, is going to stay directed to our north. This is Futurecast from noon tomorrow through midnight tomorrow night. And you see that rainfall being aimed at the north coast of California and the bulk of it into the Pacific Northwest. There is a chance of a couple of passing showers in the North Bay late tomorrow night before the sun comes up on Sunday, and then maybe a couple more showers trying to scoot through Marin and Sonoma counties as we head towards about midday on Sunday. But for the rest of the Bay Area, we're just going to see some passing clouds, and the next significant chance of rain is a little bit farther down the line. We're going to have to wait several days for that to arrive. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and there's our alert day on Tuesday. It's going to be Monday night into Tuesday for the next round of rainfall, which does not look like it's going to be exceptionally dangerous, but it's just going to be impactful for likely the morning and afternoon commutes on Tuesday. A chance of lingering showers on Wednesday. Then the forecast is largely drying out and warming up by Thursday and Friday of next week. Temperatures around most of the Bay Area into the upper 60s to near 70 degrees as we finish off the month of February. So bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, it certainly has been. Flew by, though. Okay, on to March. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks so much. All right, when we come back, we're going to meet the Oakland Zoo's newest resident. What makes this baby monkey such a special addition for the zoo? Here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
With today's Supreme Court decision on tariffs and the president's response, what does it all mean for you and your budget? I'm Jolene Kent in Los Angeles, and we'll have all the answers for you tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
The Oakland Zoo is welcoming its newest member of the primate exhibit to the family. So they sent us this video of their new baby red-tailed monkey nursing with his mama. So this angle gives us a better view of the newborn Quentin monkey. It's a first birth for that species at the zoo. And he's going to join his two older sisters and his mom and dad in the habitat where visitors can see this little guy every single day. The zoo says they are still deciding on what to name him, but once they do, they'll certainly announce it on social media. That would be fun to put it out there and have people kind of suggest names, don't you think? All right, CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Our local service always on CBS News Bay Area, the streaming service. Right back here at 7 o'clock with more news just for you.